One of the biggest things that you can do to help with cognitive decline, exercise has been the number one thing. With longevity, exercise is the number one thing. Like, you want better confidence, exercise is probably the number one thing.
Welcome back to the Few podcast. This is Madison. We are coming back from the Confidence Summit with a second episode. This is our wellness episode live from the Confidence Summit at the Ritz-Carlton in Rancho Mirage, California. Our co-CEO, Bronwyn Ison, is going to be interviewing JJ Virgin.
JJ Virgin is a 4-time New York Times best-selling author, and millions know her through her books, including The Virgin Diet, Sugar Impact Diet, and The Metabolism Fix, as well as being one of the world's leading voices in nutrition and powerful aging. She is the founder of Reignite Wellness, a clean supplement line trusted by tens of thousands of people worldwide. JJ has been featured on Dr. Phil, The Today Show, Dr. Oz, and Rachel Ray, co-hosted TLC's Freaky Eaters, and has hosted 2 wildly popular PBS specials. She regularly speaks to audiences of 10,000 plus and has shared the stage with icons like Tony Robbins, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Gabby Reese, and Dr. Mark Hyman, along with a long list of celebrity doctors and leaders from around the globe. JJ also hosts the top-rated Well Beyond 40 podcast, with tens of millions of downloads, helping women thrive in midlife and beyond. From best-selling books to world-class supplements, JJ's not just teaching health, she's living it. Her mission is to help you do the same, to show up strong, energized, and unstoppable every day of your life.
Please help me welcome JJ Virgin and Bronwyn Ison.
Welcome, JJ, to the Few podcast. It's so great to have you here. I've been watching your line of work for many, many years. We've been at some of the same events. I've been to your Mindshare, and it is so great to have you here at the Confidence Summit. So I'm excited to ask you some questions to really have not only me get to know you better, but also the audience. So you've built an incredible body of work over the years. What's something that you believe in more strongly now, say, versus 5 years ago, and why?
Now, there's 2 ways I could answer this, and I'm struggling here, and I think I might just look a little ADHD for a moment, but I am an entrepreneur,
okay.
So I am. Because I could take it the B2B route, like business building, and I can also do it in my consumer business, my health business, right? And I have 2 businesses, and I think both are valuable. And I think in the B2B space, for anyone who's watching who is working, which I would assume is probably most people, I think we have to double down now with AI on building our personal brand. It's interesting when you look at the recent studies that came out from Forbes. It showed that 82% of people will make a buying decision by going to social media to see if the person is real. And it used to be what I would tell physicians is like, okay, you don't have to do that. Now I'm like, you have to become your brand. You have to be able to speak, you have to be able to do video, you have to have great messaging. That's no longer optional anymore because AI is coming to get you otherwise. So there's that one. On the health side, it's something that I'm just tripling down on now, but I've felt this way since I was in my early 20s. And that is, I've always focused on muscle first. I'm just now screaming it. And that is because the majority of people I work with are 40 plus. And we know that starting at around age 30, we start to lose up to 1% of our muscle mass a year. It's like 3 to 8% a decade. Now, I contend that some of that is because we're listening to the narrative of what happens as we get 30 plus and like, oh, you should do bar, you should do Pilates, you shouldn't lift that heavy weight, right? That silly stuff. This is the stuff my mother used to say to me. But, it is that we really need to not listen to that narrative, realize that we need to challenge our muscles, and muscle changes everything in terms of your metabolism and your metabolic health, where we have a true crisis going on.
What do you think really shifted the focus more so on muscle? Because that's a huge priority for me, and as we are getting, I like to say mature, we're maturing. How and what is the best way to be keeping it on? But also, what do you think the shift was, this focus on muscle?
I actually think that the GLP-1s really helped identify the problem. Here's the silly part about that. GLP-1s are being criticized for causing muscle loss, but GLP-1s don't cause muscle loss. A poor diet without resistance training causes muscle loss. So all GLP-1s is unmask what happens when people are using the wrong metric for success. If someone is focusing on scale weight, then you should lose as much muscle as possible. You will look very successful. And you will absolutely destroy your metabolism. So I think that's what's happened, coupled with the fact that we now have a way to look at what your weight's made up of, where back 40 years ago, I was literally taking skin fold calipers. Couldn't bring a underwater weighing tank to the people's houses. Now we have bioimpedance scales. They're getting into doctors' offices. DEXA is becoming more common, so it's becoming more of an obvious thing to be able to look at. It's still novel. Like, I talk to people and I go, you must have a bioimpedance scale. You can't, and they still don't get it, but I feel like that's starting to shift. I will say one other thing about that, though. Whenever you do these types of scales, you're getting a prediction. Like, they're looking at your fat-free mass, they're predicting your skeletal muscle mass from it, but what they're not telling you is the quality of that muscle, which is everything. And so I think it has to be combined with a grip strength test.
Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful for the audience, for sure. I'm 52 years old, so just being able to keep the muscle on. And what I also find too is that as we get older, we don't want to eat as much protein. Or at least for me, it's hard to get the protein down. We're like, oh my gosh, how much protein do I need to eat? And
I have a hack for that. So.
Okay. Do you want to share it?
First of all, I think our job, and Jennifer Aniston or Halle Berry, or maybe both of them said this best. They go, I'm trying to pack on as much muscle as possible. You can put on muscle as you age. It's not enough to hold on to what you have, because most women were cardio bunnies their whole life. They were never focused on muscle because they were scared they were going to get bulky. 40 years of doing this, I have never once had a woman get bulky by lifting weights. I've had a woman get bulky because they weren't, right? So you're not getting bulky by lifting weights. Muscles are your metabolic Spanx. They hold everything in tighter. You want to spot reduce, put some muscle on. So that's the first important thing. Now, when you look at building muscle, it's 75% training, 25% diet. So yes, we need the protein. However, we're eating the protein to get the essential amino acids.
Right.
So you can circumvent the process. And I think that one of the most important and underutilized supplements out there are essential amino acids. I think that every woman 40 plus, unless they are a carnivore, they're really focused on their protein, should be taking essential amino acids, probably a scoop with their breakfast and a scoop at dinner. And if they're fasting, and I do believe in time-restricted eating, but I think we have to be careful with fasting. But if they are, then kind of using those essential amino acids, it breaks the fast, but it will still support them maintaining that muscle.
And that's really good information, because we know that women are not getting enough.
Yeah, they're not. And here's the thing. If you don't have enough essential amino acids on board, there's no storage. It's not like body fat.
Right.
And, it's not like carbohydrates stored in your muscles, glycogen. If you don't have enough protein, your body then gets it from one place, and that's your muscles.
Yeah, it's got a pull.
Every day. So that's the last thing you want to have happen.
All right, so we're going to move on here. So behind the success and the science, what's a truth about health or strength for women that doesn't get talked about enough but should?
There's so many. I think one of the biggest challenges that women have is that they do not put themselves at the top of their to-do list. And I think back to a story of this woman who came to me absolutely panicked because she had had a heart attack. She ended up in the hospital. She was the financial support for her family. Now, she was lucky that she lived through it. If you look at it, most women's heart attack symptoms are disregarded as, anxiety or stress. It's very different than men, and it presents itself differently, and then half those women will die. So she made it through that, and now she's highly motivated, right? Because she's the sole financial support for her family. So we sit down, we map out the plan, and then I don't hear from her. And when I'm working with someone one-on-one, they are checking in, because accountability and consistency are everything. Without those, you've got nothing. And so I hear nothing, ping her, no response, wait a couple days, ping her again, no response, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not your, not your babysitter here. It's like you're a big girl. So I hear back from her a month later. She goes, I'm sorry. And it's like, well, it's your body, not my body. I'm
Right.
sorry, but I was so busy setting up my life insurance. So you spent your time over the last month not protecting yourself so you'd stay alive. You're preparing for death.
You're
like, this is what we
planning to die
chose to
versus
do.
planning to
We chose
live.
it's like, okay, It's a really crazy way to showcase how women will tend to put everything else first and put themselves last, kind of as a martyr type of thing. And we're like the Ferrari to the male Tesla. Teslas are pretty easy to deal with and program. Ferraris are these like complex everything under the hood. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
We've got a way more complicated hormone system, and we're more sensitive to stress.
Yes.
And so if we don't honor that, if we just try to push through it, like work like a guy, we're going to hurt ourselves and we're not going to be able to recover well. So that's probably not the answer you expected, but that's the answer I think is so important, and it's one I have to keep reminding myself too, because I will just push and drive and push and drive.
Yeah.
And it used to be that I would do an adrenal stress test to look at my cortisol every 6 months, because if I didn't do it, I would push past it and blow myself out and I have to go fix it again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's how us women, we do operate like that. I'm guilty. I'll say I'm guilty of that. When you hear the word power today, what does that actually mean to you, and how is it different from how maybe you defined it earlier in your career?
Well, now I think of power, and again, I would go to two different places. I'd go
Okay.
to the business side and the consumer side. On the health side, I define power, and I put in front of aging. So for me, I do not want someone to age gracefully. I want them to think of powerful aging, because as we age, we lose muscle, but what we really lose is strength, and what we really, really lose is power. And power is how quickly you can do something. And it is the biggest thing that is linked with all-cause mortality, is the power side of things. And so this changes the way that you would think of exercising. It's the exact opposite of take it easy, go slow, do easy training, because that will never stimulate those fast twitch fibers. That are the ones we lose predominantly as we age. And we have these fibers in between. So we have two types of predominant muscle fibers, slow and fast. And then we have these ones in between that can switch. But if you're doing more easier workouts, gentle things, the ones that could switch are going to switch over to the slow twitch, and then you lose your fast twitch and you just train yourself to get slower. And we know gait speed is linked with all-cause mortality too. And it's also linked with, are you going to fall? So I think of, in terms of health, really focusing on power and increasing power, which is why when you start to work out, whatever it is, whether you're at home or a gym, it's not ever training slowly. You know,
Right.
when I remember those super slow workouts, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
So it sounds, and it just sounds like just more intention and purpose with it, and really getting a plan. I think a lot of people just don't even know where to start,
Right.
too. So that's
Yeah,
also,
well, we can
that's
talk through that.
Yeah.
on the other side, this is going to go a little bit out there. So we were just in Egypt. We were in two amazing
think I
places.
saw that,
Yeah, so we were in the Amazon, deep in the Amazon with the indigenous tribes. And it was the hardest trip of my life. I like bathrooms, and I like where we are. We're at the
you like
Ritz-Carlton.
things,
I like
yeah.
things. I like things. And then we were in Egypt, and what was wild is to see, and almost back to back, we had like a week in between. In the Amazon, we were with a warrior tribe, and the men were in charge. And what was crazy to watch was the women were very meek, very soft-spoken, spoke like this. I was like, you know, because they came and we performed for each other, and they went to sing, and it almost reminded me of when I lived in Japan, and the women were very soft-spoken and subservient. The women did everything. Like, we watched this man sitting there weaving a basket while the woman is running, getting water, and running to, and I'm like, what is going on here? Crazy. Then we go over to Egypt, and we're seeing all of this amazing, you know, all these ruins that showcase these women as strong, as goddesses, as equal partners, all of this. And I go, what?
Different.
When did all this shift? And if you really look at what we need to write right now and what's going on in the world, we need that back. And so I know for women, the idea, and it sounds so trying to step into your power, but I think the world needs a big dose of feminine power, because it's very different how we approach things. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, we can be powerful and still very feminine.
Right.
So I always say, I'm
Exactly.
like, we don't have to be aggressive or
No.
assertive. You can with the right tone and everything like that. But yeah, I like that. That's really good. Really, really good. Was there a moment when your own body forced you to listen, and when it sent a message that you couldn't ignore? And what did that change for you?
It was subtle, and I still remember because I was over at, I think is it World's Gym here? And I was like,
I don't think they're there anymore, but yes.
Anyway, everything changes. You go away for a couple of years, and like, where is everything?
Yeah.
Anyhow, I just couldn't recover from a workout. And, I'd been teaching this course on weight loss resistance, so I knew all the stuff about sex hormones declining, but we didn't have a lot of the information back then as to what could signify low estrogen. So I didn't realize that this inability to recover from a workout was low estrogen. I'm like, what is going on here? And then I went to the dentist in town, and I was at Craig Conroe, and I was blown away that he figured this out. And I'm like, go you. Because I also was having bleeding gums. I'm like, what is going on? And he goes, low estrogen. I'm like, oh. Interesting. Yeah, amazing. Like, I never would have put those things together. Now you would, because you hear all the crazy signs in perimenopause, itchy ears, and it's like, but my signs were like I couldn't recover from a workout, and I had a little bit of bleeding gums.
So how did you then?
Got some estrogen.
Okay.
I was very fortunate. This was, 15 years ago? Like, I knew when my thyroid went down, within a month of my thyroid going down, and went on thyroid. Then as my hormones started to go down, I started on hormones way, way back when. I feel so sorry for those women who were just screwed by the Women's Health Initiative false reporting. I had helped this one doctor, Dr. Diana Schwartzbein, who was one of the originators of all of this, who was Suzanne Summers' doctor. I did workshops with her, so like I was already completely sold on bioidentical hormone replacement.
Yeah, I think that's been so great for women.
Well, newsflash on that.
Okay.
You don't, if someone's listening to this and they go, it's too late for me, because Dr. Felice Gersh is amazing. Her whole specialty is women who miss that window. There is no window.
Right.
There's no window.
Right.
You can't undo things like some of the bone loss.
Sure.
And you know that like the minute you hit menopause, you start losing 2 to 5% of your bone a year.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's big. So, and I think too, it's important to, I know this, I've heard you say it before, it's making sure that all the trio is being used, the progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone.
It's making sure you have a doctor that actually knows how to do this stuff, and that's the harder part.
Like watching, looking, having the blood tests appropriately.
Blood tests, blood and urine or saliva, because then you have to look at metabolites. Then you have to also consider symptoms, and especially as you're going through it, those levels are changing, so a lot of it's dosed more on symptoms, but it's understanding how to cycle in progesterone. Like I just had someone ping me and they're like, I don't know what's going on with my weight, it's going like this, and found out that she was not on estrogen, she was just on steady state straight progesterone. I'm like, that makes you insulin resistant, and there's your insulin at 15, like, and there's your weight gain, and there's your muscle loss, and it's, if anything, going to lower your estrogen, and then that's going to cause you to lose more muscle. So you've got to work with someone who really understands it.
Even being in the industry, but not as a nutritionist, but more someone with, yoga, functional movement. And my girlfriends were talking one day, and they're talking about this hormone replacement. Like, what are you talking about? And then I go to the doctor, and she's like, how are you operating? I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, your testosterone is like dangerously low. Like, we need to help you out here. So I was really glad for that.
Game changer.
Oh yes, total game changer. And what was funny is that at one time I was doing pellets, which did not work well for me. I'm not a fan of pellets either. And I had estrogen release on me all at one time. I thought that I had been hit by a bus. I was like down for like a week. So then my husband ended up telling me where he was going, which we were going 2 separate places. I'm like, this is funny that you're telling me, right? So then I ended up going to the same place as him, and now it total game changer.
I don't understand the pellet thing.
Yeah.
Can't modify things if they don't go right.
No, it didn't work for me, but to each their own, right? So, all right, so back to just these high-performing women, like you are, like who you're working with. Where do you see us unintentionally working against our bodies in the name of success or productivity?
Well, I think we're trying to work like men when we are not, as Stacey Sims says, we are not small men. So I think we're trying to work like men and not honor our own physiology and biology. I think we're using the scale as a success metric. That's a big mistake. But I would say that's the biggest one, is that And you go online and look at these influencers and go, well, who has 5 hours for self-care? This is stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, but it means like, hey, get in a hot bath. Like, it doesn't have to be this whole thing. It's just realizing that if you feel a little tired or stressed, to take a little time. And I think the other piece that we really need, more than men, it's been so fascinating to watch, my guy friends, they don't really have guy friends. Like, they don't have friends the way we have friends, where I'll have 10 women over for dinner and we all walk out afterwards and we feel so much better.
Yeah.
And I just think it goes back to thousands of years ago, we had to have that or we were going to die. So, and men were more the solopreneurs out there in the world. So I think we also need to have girl time.
So then, from earlier in our conversation, you are saying, yes, we need to be more powerful, but then also not to work like a man. So where's the balance?
But powerful doesn't need to be that.
True.
Powerful means standing up for yourself, saying what's important to you. Like, have you ever looked at Alison Armstrong's work?
No.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff. So she is like the another version of, say, a John Gray.
Okay.
And she really talks about, when I went to one of her workshops, it was all these strong women who were having trouble finding a good mate. And I would never have had my amazing soulmate, Tim, had I not done her work. Because I was trying to behave like a man. And the first thing she was like, put down your sword. You're trying to castrate men. We're like, what? But it's just understanding that our way of being powerful is not the same as a guy's.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just saying, is putting up the right boundaries.
Right, absolutely.
Right?
That's a big one.
Not trying to please everybody.
Yep.
When
People
someone
pleaser.
says, what would you
Yep.
love to do? You don't go, oh, whatever you want.
Yeah.
BS, whatever you want.
Just make a choice.
Like, just say what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if there's something you'd love to have, you say what you'd love to have and don't apologize for it.
Yeah, and that's what's great between even my husband and I, Mark. He just asked me, he's like, if you just tell me,
Right.
then
that's what they want.
They do.
So Tim
they don't want to have to actually
yeah.
work too much harder than that. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just
No,
tell.
but like they actually want to know
Yes,
what
they
you
do.
want and give it to you.
Yeah.
And it makes them happy.
Yes.
And we sit there and think, well, if they could just read my mind. It's like, they can't. They're not in your head. You don't want a guy who thinks like a girl.
No.
How
No,
weird
you
would
don't.
that be?
You absolutely don't. Okay, you are known for helping to really transform people's lives and their health, and probably specifically more so women. But
Although I did a big number on my husband.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
So it's not just women.
Who is JJ when you are not the expert, you're not the speaker or the authority in the room?
So I'm definitely a very happy wife, and together, because we met each other later in life, we are now parents of 3 dogs.
Okay.
And all those memes on Instagram right now showing the man with like the little Chihuahua or the Pomeranian, that's my husband. He's got his own big fluffy Pomeranian Chihuahua. It's hilarious. So that's very important. Of course, our kids are super important to us. I told him when I met him, I said, hey, my ex-husband lives down the street and we all hang out. And he's like, okay. So when we moved to Florida, everybody moved with us. But I just like the basic stuff. Like, the reality is, this side of me, we've created a really beautiful life where we travel and work all over the place. I always wanted a laptop life, even before there were laptops, where I just had freedom. I could work from anywhere. Like, just being in Egypt, one of the reasons we were able to go to Amazon in Egypt and be basically gone for a month was we could work. Couldn't work in the Amazon, I'll tell you that. I was just trying to survive in the Amazon, but in Egypt it was easy enough to do. And so, I actually love all the work stuff that I do, all of it. Someone asked me last night when I was going to retire, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I love
When you
it.
love what you do, it's not work,
absolutely
right?
love what I do. And then we do a lot of, like, both these trips we just went on were pilgrimages. They were not like travel vacations, they were pilgrimages where there was a big spiritual component to them. We do a lot of that work. Like, we've been to 7 Joe Dispenza retreats.
Okay.
That piece is really important too. And at home, we love to cook dinner together, and we do saunas. We have a whole recovery room of red lights and sauna and cold plunge and HBOT. So
For quality time.
yeah, walk the dogs, just the basics. Like, the basic stuff I love more than ever. I totally appreciate it, especially when you travel 75% of the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're on probably more so than you're off, would you say? Or you're splitting it, kind of 50-50?
splitting it, yeah.
So you may not be retiring, but you might just be tailoring back a little bit?
Well, I wouldn't say, no, we're not cutting back. We have not, actually this year, we are in 10 different countries for
I love
work.
That.
We are
that's not cutting back.
Doing stuff. Yeah, we turned up the volume. I wouldn't say we're.
I'm going to say, don't go anywhere. Yeah, it's great.
And I mean, I've got a book coming out. I just took on some more stuff with Tony Robbins. We're doing stuff for A4M. So I mean, it's like, no, it's a lot more. It's not less. And it's great. Like my mentor in business did more at 72. She created a bigger business, made more money than in her entire working years before that. And that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. See, that's when age is just a number, right? You can be so powerful even at 72 years old.
Well, here's the thing. Like me right now is way better than me 10 years ago. And that's really how it should be. Like I have so much more information. I'm learning all the time, got more experience. So I've got way more to offer right now than I did before. And in 10 years, I'll have even more to offer. Because I'm staying relevant.
Right.
I think what happens with a lot of people out in the field is they're not relevant anymore because they stop learning and they stop doing the thing. And now they're just teaching the thing that they used to do, but
with no growth. With no
it's like,
growth.
Well, everything's changed now.
Yeah.
So.
Especially with AI, like what you had mentioned.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier. Yeah, absolutely.
This episode is brought to you by Blanky Shine Wealth Management. Serving the Coachella Valley for the first 40 years and built for the next 40 years. And for more information about Blanky Shine, it's blankyshinewealthmanagement.com.
In your experience, how much of confidence is mental and how much is directly tied to how supported your body feels?
How can you separate this?
That's a good answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and here's what's really cool. The strength of your quad muscles is directly correlated with the size of your brain. You
Tell me more.
So what we now know is, I mentioned that muscle helps with metabolic health and metabolism. Well, muscle helps with mental and emotional health and metabolic health and metabolism. One of the best ways to improve your cognition, if you do a workout before you're going to go speak, you have elevated brain function, faster processing speed for at least 4 hours.
Love that.
So one of the easiest things to do if you're going out on stage is just do a little HIIT workout. Do like a couple minutes of exercise before you go out and you'll pop your brain function, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the biggest things that you can do to help with cognitive decline, exercise has been the number one thing. With longevity, exercise is the number one thing. Like you want better confidence, exercise is probably the number one thing, right? So I don't know how you'd unpack them. They all work together. Unless you got some trauma going on, then go fix that.
I've been working in fitness for 25 years, and I think what brings me the greatest joy is when I do see someone who is 60, 70 plus, even 80 years old in the gym. I'm like, you're moving. You're moving. Like, this is great. Or you're out gardening, or you're whatever it is that you do. I don't care if you're just walking lightly on the treadmill. I mean, you showed up to the gym. Like, that's the hardest thing to do to begin with for a lot of people. So that's
Here's
really
a funny story that actually happened here at Desert Hospital. So Desert Hospital has a cardiac rehab gym. Have you ever been in it?
No.
So they have the treadmills, and then they have this amazing gym that no one uses. So I had a client in Palm Springs. She goes, "Oh, Desert Hospital, I can go use their gym there." I'm like, all right, cool. So we go over there, and everyone's on the treadmills, walking slowly, because and I'm like, this is not how you do cardiac rehab, walking slowly on a treadmill. And we take her into the gym. They have that assisted pull-up dip machine. So she is in there squatting, like all the things, deadlifts, pull-ups, push-ups, and people are watching. And then you know what happened. They're like, well, why can't I do that?
I want to do what she's doing.
We want to do that because she was like 70 and amazing.
Yeah.
And so it started a whole uproar over here. And so I think part of it too is if you get to the gym, if you just get to the gym, although I will tell you, I used to work out at Palm Valley Country Club, and you'd walk down the hallway, and the cardio was on one side and the gym was on the other. And I kept thinking, how do the people that walk over to the cardio not look and go, wow, those people in the weight room, they keep getting better and better and better, because the average age there was like 60, 70. And the people in the cardio room just are slowly declining. Why aren't they paying attention? But I always think at least if you get to the gym, then you'll hopefully merge on over into the weight room.
Yeah. Well, we at least hope so, right? That's for sure. Before I go on here, I teach yoga a couple days a week for fun over at Lifetime in Scottsdale. And I'm like known for doing chair pose. And people are like, oh my gosh, here comes the chair, here comes the chair. And I'm like, do you realize you need to be in this position often?
Yeah.
Take it home, utilize it, practice it, do wall sits. I mean, because guess what? You gotta sit down and go to the bathroom. You gotta pull yourself up. So tell me the benefits for people who are watching, how important the lower body, the squats, how important that is.
If I had to pick one exercise,
Yes.
it would be air squats. I don't know if you saw that study that showed that it was basically 1 or 2 minutes of air squats equaled 20 minutes of walking to lower the blood sugar response. So a whole lot of different things happen with a squat. Number one, you've got the brain and the muscles the nervous system has to communicate with the muscles, so that's great. Number two, you're strengthening all these functional muscles. So you're strengthening your quads, you're strengthening your glutes, you're strengthening your back, you're strengthening your core. People sit there and do core exercises at the gym. I rarely do them because I do all the exercises that involve your core,
right.
And that's how life is. In life, I never lie down on the floor and curl up. I don't do sit-ups. That's not I like to train to get better at life, but I do have to get up out of a car that's low. I have to get up off a chair. And so that's the key. But then you look at what happens when you start to contract these muscles. Well, we know the quad muscle strength and the brain. We also know that if you can do just a chair pose, then you could go home and do a lot of air squats and get the power in it too. And maybe even add a little bit of jumping at the end too.
I get my arms involved. So that also builds up my cardiovascular. So,
yeah, it's HIIT training. A minute or two of chair squats is absolutely HIIT training. But that's also one of the ways that we test for sarcopenia is that 30-second chair squat test, where all you do is you get over a chair and you put your hands across your chest and you have to tap the chair and you see how many squats you can do in 30 seconds. And then you can go online and look at your age and gender to make sure that you've got quality muscle. So it's the speed too that matters. So once you've got the strength, and then I would also argue is could we work from that position then and do, because I'm sure you're doing it, then you're doing twisting.
Yes.
You're doing some rotation, you're doing mobility work in there as well.
The one thing that I have been doing, so I had a hip replacement a little over a year ago, hip dysplasia, not from injury. And before my hip replacement, I could easily just be sitting cross-legged and not use my hands to get up off the floor. So I couldn't do that when my hip was hurting. So it was a really big goal of mine, and I'm now doing it, which is great, that I can now pull myself up off the floor without using my hands. And I think that's a great exercise for people to do too.
That's another great one. Having had a knee replacement and a hip replacement from old stupid injuries when I was a teen, that can never do it. It just can't pull it off. But
is it your right or your left?
So I have a left broken foot from when I was 20, a left hip, and then a right knee, the whole thing. So.
Okay, so, and look at, that never slowed her down.
But I do it with one hand. And here's the thing.
It never slowed you down, though, and that's impressive.
It did, if anything, and I think this is an important concept, again, it goes with that train to get better at life. I blew out my knee when I was 17, and then blew it out again, then had to have the first surgery, then the second, had 5 surgeries. So they're you'll have to have a knee replacement at 30. I'm like, no, I won't. And so for years and years and years, I did squats, I did leg press, I did everything to keep everything as strong as possible so that I wouldn't have to do it. I hear so often people going, I can't do that, I have a bad back. I can't do that because I have bad knees.
All the time.
Guess what's going to make your knees and your back worse? Not doing the thing.
Right.
You have to do the thing.
Yeah.
The weaker, the more issues you have, the more you need to do it. I have an old broken foot. And I do calf raises, I do all this work on it to keep it very, very mobile because, it's...
Well, if you're not using it, you're going to lose it.
Yep.
Right? So, that old adage. All right, so you mentioned earlier, I caught it, you're working on a new book.
Yes.
So, is that what you're personally prioritizing right now? Is the new book, or it's already done, it's coming out?
So I've spent 3 years on this one.
Wow.
This is really the book I've always wanted to write, but it wasn't time yet. And it was funny, my agent wanted me to write Virgin Diet 2.0, and I wrote it. And then I said, I'm not doing it. So I've got it sitting there whenever I want to do it. But I was like, I have to do this book.
Okay.
And it is the book that is about powerful aging. It's called The Metabolism Fix, Restore Your Body's Ability to Build Muscle and Lose Fat Faster. It's really like the muscle changes everything conversation, how to use muscle first so that you focus first on building muscle so that you burn fat, especially belly fat, and then restore that metabolic balance of your hormones, right? And so
needed.
It's really, it's the right time.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting years for it. And so this has been 3 years of just messing with this book, and finally we're in the final edits.
Okay, so when?
December 29th.
Okay.
Because it's a traditionally published book, it takes forever.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, congratulations. That's
Yay.
very, very exciting. All right, so in closing here, gluten-free, sugar-free, what else don't you do?
So I eat gluten if I'm outside of the U.S.
Okay.
because we have
It's not
glyphosated out.
I was going to say, it doesn't have all the stuff, yeah.
Sounds like we're going to get more glyphosate going.
Yeah.
So I've been able to bring dairy back in, which was great because a long time I was very intolerant to dairy and eggs.
Okay.
So I can roll that back in. That's been a lifesaver.
Okay.
So I think it's more what things I'm really focusing on. I always say if you do the right things, you crowd out the bad things.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so I've been very focused. Tim named my product Sheatine, but a really cool creatine for women that doesn't cause bloating. I've been really focusing on getting steps, on getting my sleep, on training harder, on making sure that I'm not just holding on to muscle. Like I'm as strong as I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I call total BS on this whole we have to lose
you
this
look
stuff.
incredible.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like, no, we don't have to.
That's just excuses, right? Do you think they're excuses or?
I think it's more that we're just buying into a narrative. And I always go, well, what if I could be better than I was then? I know I'm the same weight as I was in high school, but I've got more muscle mass than then. And I was doing gymnastics, acrobatics, all sorts of stuff, lifting weights with the football team. So what if, you could buy into that narrative, how's that going to serve you?
Yeah. I feel like I could talk to you for hours. Okay, I do have one more question. What are your feelings about the flipping of the food pyramid?
I think that it's getting there. It's not there.
It's not there, but
it's better than it was. I mean, apparently now we're going to have an actual definition for ultra-processed foods.
Yes.
I mean, there's just it's such a train wreck now that I don't even know how we dig ourselves out of it.
Yeah.
Like you go to these other countries, and since we travel so much, we see it, especially more in Europe. But it's like you don't see what we have here. Or when we were in Korea, I saw one overweight person in Korea. Actually, I didn't. Tim saw the person. I never saw any overweight people there. Their food is entirely different than our food. Even their fried chicken, which is their biggest thing they have, is fried in olive oil. Like they just don't do what we do. Like you don't see people walking down the street eating McDonald's ever. So I think we're doing a lot better. I think that we need to really shift the guidelines on protein. Like if it was going to be the JJ Virgin pyramid.
I like that. That's good. You could make one.
Actually, I think we did a YouTube video that I recorded that the sound didn't work, so I'm redoing it.
Yeah.
So basically it is, all right, let's figure out how much protein you need based on your gender, your age, what you're doing. And if we're not getting it, let's use some essential amino acids. Then let's add plants next. Let's stop this plant-based narrative that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it clearly governed by big money, big food.
Yep.
You know, it's stupid. And once we start to be able to look at protein differently with a Diaz score, where we can look at the clear essential amino acid balance, no one would ever go, plants are better. Plants are great, but not for that. Plants are great for your microbiome and for fuel. Proteins function. Plants are fuel. I love the stuff from Tim Spector of the 30 different plants. So I think the 30 different plants, at least 30 grams of fiber thing, and then you got some healthy fats when you're cooking the veggies, count that. You got some healthy fats when you're eating the clean protein, and then, you know, add in some starchy carbs if you want, add in some more fat if you want, see what you need, but likely you'll be full.
Yeah. All right, so what's your cheat, or do you have one?
Well, last night we had a cheat. I don't really consider it cheating.
Okay,
so here's
good.
the thing. So if you're eating 90% clean, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like we don't need to worry about these things. See, that's the diet mentality that has taken women out. I don't want to say diet culture because that drives me nuts too. But this mentality of like, I was bad today. It's like, okay, if you're eating mainly good, and then you had like last night we were at that Catalan restaurant. I always wanted to go there. And I had been looking at this Bass cheesecake forever. I've hacked cheesecake. I can make the most amazing healthy cheesecakes and healthy desserts in general. And so I was like, I've always wanted to try Bass cheesecake, and they had it on the menu. So we had it. We shared it. We didn't finish it. We had a couple bites of it. Like, is that going to matter?
Right.
Not
No.
remotely.
Right.
But I would say, like, someone had asked me that, I'm like, I don't know, wine, you know?
Yeah,
That's it.
That's usually what I say. I'm like,
Yeah,
my
wine.
cheat is I have a glass of wine because, like you're saying, 90% of the time I'm very, very good.
So
and
Mark
then so if
Sisson
you
said
do
it
just
great.
have like a little bit of something, then it's like, oh.
So Mark Sisson, someone was interviewing him about wine, and Mark's like my oldest friend in health, and he said, you know what, I looked at all the data, and it said it might shorten your life by 6 months. I'll take it. I'm like... So it's like I grew up in
that's
Northern
great.
California. We used to go to the wine country, like skip school and go
Yeah.
wine tasting.
Yeah.
Like, I like wine.
Yeah.
I like coffee.
I
like
like
chocolate.
I like little
I'm having
wine,
them.
coffee, and chocolate
Yeah.
too. So how can a young woman be able to stay healthy and achieve success?
Okay. This is a big question. This is like an hour answer. We're going to do this succinctly, though. The first thing, I love Brene Brown's comparison, is the thief of joy. So social media hurts my heart. It does.
Agree.
And I watch myself, I get in there and I start the whole comparison. This is the thief of joy. And I'm like, oh my God, look at that. I was like, knock it off. So just realize you're seeing highlight reels and filters. So if you're looking at that, that's what you're seeing. So do not do that. I think it's really coming down to, for a woman who's starting out, who, whether you want to be successful in your job or successful in your own business, you need a mentor. The thing that changed my life, and I didn't realize it at the time, I had a mentor at 30 that changed the entire trajectory of both my career and my personal life. And then I didn't get another mentor till 45. I could have shortcutted 10 years of total stress, pressure, anxiety, not knowing what to do if I just found another mentor. So always have a mentor. And a mentor for me is someone who has had amazing success similar to what I'm looking for, and more importantly, also amazing failures, epic failures, and they will share those, because I know where they grew, they became the person they were, was not through the successes.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I'm looking for. And then your biggest goal in your teens and 20s is to pack on as much muscle and bone as you possibly can. And also to have fun, play, do as many different types of exercise and activities, and then make that your foundation. It's your non-negotiable. It's the thing you always do. Make it your identity, that this is just who you are. I am an athlete. This is what I do. Like, I would never not work out, because that's what I do. It's who I am.
Right.
Right? And that's what someone has to become. You know, if you're sitting there saying, I hate working out and I don't want, then guess what you'll be? So knock it off. Flip the script and fall in love with something. Doesn't matter. Like, if you love Zumba, do Zumba. I don't care what it is. Fall in love with something you can be consistent about, that becomes your identity, that you'll create a friend group in, so that you will be likely to do it and they'll hold you accountable.
Yep. Great sound advice for that young woman. Oh, JJ, this has been so good to sit with you, get to know you better. Thank you so much for being here at the Confidence Summit, for being a guest on the Few podcast, and I hope to see you again very soon.
Well, thank you. And thank you for including me and bringing me back to the desert.
Yes.
Fun.
Great to have you.
I'm so thankful to Bronwyn and JJ for joining the podcast. I feel so inspired by both of them, and I'm excited to start working out more and cooking more healthy meals, and I hope all of you feel just as inspired by them. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the podcast, and please give us a follow on our social medias and subscribe to the podcast.
This podcast is brought to you by David Field Producer. It is produced and directed by David Field and Kristen George. And it's mix, edit, and socials by Kristen George and Sam Aguirre. Blanky Shine Wealth Management is a group of investment professionals registered with Hightower Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC, and with Hightower Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Securities are offered through Hightower Securities, LLC. Advisory services are offered through Hightower Advisors, LLC. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities. No investment process is free of risk, and there is no guarantee that the investment process or the investment opportunities referenced herein will be profitable. Past performance is not indicative of current or future performance and is not a guarantee. The investment opportunities referenced herein may not be suitable for all investors. All data and information referenced herein are from sources believed to be reliable. Any opinions, news, research, analysis, prices, or other information contained in this research is provided as general market commentary. It does not constitute investment advice. Blanky Shine Wealth Management and Hightower shall not in any way be liable for claims and make no expressed or implied representations or warranties as to the accuracy or completeness of the data and other information, or for statements or errors contained in or omissions from the obtained data and information referenced herein. The data and information are provided as of the date referenced. Such data and information are subject to change without notice. This document was created for informational purposes only. The opinions expressed are solely those of Blanky Shine Wealth Management and do not represent those of Hightower Advisors, LLC, or any of its affiliates.